This is a look at Cocoa Beach in Florida. Some cities have seen as much as 300 millimeters of rain. To put that into perspective, that's roughly a quarter of the precipitation that Vancouver receives in an entire year. Power is still out for some 2 million people this morning. The Fort Myers area, one of the hardest hit. FEMA says damages from Ian will be catastrophic, and the organization is preparing for potentially thousands of people to be displaced in the long term. And this is a cruise through downtown Sarasota last night. President Biden has declared a major disaster and is directing federal aid to Florida. So officials in Washington are taking an all-hands-on-deck approach to the devastation from Hurricane Ian. Today, President Biden will visit the FEMA headquarters for an update on the storm damage. In the meantime, let's turn to NBC's Chris Pallone for more. He's in Tampa. Chris, good morning to you. Talk to us about the damage and devastation that Hurricane Ian has brought to Florida. What's the latest this morning?
Yeah, good morning, Marcia. Officials are getting their first look at some of the worst hit areas now that we have some daylight here. Those areas are about a 1 to 2 hours drive south of where I'm standing right now. Places like Lee County, Naples, Fort Myers. Perhaps your viewers are familiar with these beach and resort areas. We've seen the video, that devastating storm surge that came in so suddenly, the high winds that battered the area for hours and dumped tons of rain on them. Officials say that they've been hampered in their search and trying to figure out exactly how bad the damage is because of their roads are so impassable. Trees, power lines down, large pieces of concrete, roads disrupted. So they are trying to find out if there are people still trapped, if there are people who didn't make it through the storm. That is ongoing. But the storm is also still ongoing. Up to my east in Orlando, out towards the Space Coast, Ian has been dumping tons and tons of rain on central Florida. It's been causing flash flooding. It's been causing people to say that their homes and their cars are being filled with water rapidly and without notice. And Governor Ron DeSantis said a short time ago that he expects to see 500-year flooding, as he described it, because of the sheer amount of water that's being dumped on the state of Florida. So over the next few hours and days, we certainly could see rivers and streams continue to rise and flood areas throughout Florida, especially in central Florida. And the governors of states like Georgia, the Carolinas, and Virginia have declared states of emergency as they anticipate this storm, now just a tropical storm, we say, but still very potent, moves towards their areas.
Yeah, the damage is far from done. So tell us more about President Biden's visit to FEMA headquarters later today. What will take place there? What will they be discussing?
Sure. The president, he's going to speak with the FEMA administrator about the effort here on the ground. Obviously, this probably lays the groundwork for the president to come visit at some point down the road to see the damage for himself. But the FEMA administrator has been out giving interviews. She, before the storm, said that her agency had 700 people in the state of Florida pre-positioned to go in and start helping people who might have lost their homes, who need some help. The president this morning signed a major disaster declaration for at least 9 Florida counties to provide federal assistance to jumpstart the cleanup and recovery efforts here. So the president will go over there today, get a briefing, learn about the efforts being made on the ground. We learned this morning that he already spoke to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis to talk about the state's needs. And so that's the effort that you'll see going forward between the state of Florida's government and the federal government as they try to make people whole as quickly as they can in the aftermath of this storm.
Chris Pallone, thank you very much. And just to our viewers, we've been looking at live shots over Florida right now in the southwest. Aerial shots from a helicopter, just giving a sense of the massive amount of water, the flooding, homes on their sides, incredible, devastating damage right across the screen. Just Just staggering damage as a result of Hurricane Ian, and the storm is still impacting Florida this morning in the Orlando area with heavy rain as it moves east.